All right, let's pull back the curtain on something that runs our digital world, but that most of us never even think about. Public Key Infrastructure, or PKI. It's the invisible framework of trust that makes so much of our modern life even possible. And it all starts with a kind of weird question.
So, really, what do all these things have in common? A coffee maker? A bank? A power plant? Well, the answer is they all rely on this invisible framework called public key infrastructure. It's kind of like the unsung hero working in the background, constantly verifying identities and securing all our communications. It is, without a doubt, the bedrock of our digital trust. You know that little padlock icon you see up in your web browser? We see it all the time, and it just makes us feel safe, right? But what is it actually doing? Well, that tiny, familiar symbol is our doorway into understanding the much, much bigger world of PKI. Okay, so at the very heart of that padlock is something called a digital certificate. And the best way to think about it is like a digital passport. It's the thing that proves a website or even a person or a device is who they say they are online. You've probably heard of SSL or TLS certificates. They're the reason we have that S in HTTPS. But they're really just one type of these digital passports.
And just like your own passport, this digital one has some key info. The subject field? That tells you who it belongs to. The issuer is the authority that actually verified the identity. Think of them as the digital passport office. And of course, the validity period gives it a crystal clear good from and expires on date. Pretty simple, right?
So we've got these digital passports, but that brings up a really important question. How do they get issued? And maybe even more importantly, why do our computers and phones just automatically trust them? This is where we get into the real mechanics of how it all works.
That passport office of the internet? It's called a certificate authority, or a CA for short. These are highly trusted organizations, and their entire job is to do identity checks. So before they hand out a digital certificate to a website, they do the legwork to make sure that website is exactly who it claims to be. That whole verification process is the reason your browser can trust the certificate it gets from a website.
Now, for the cool part, the unforgeable watermark. This is where the real magic of cryptography kicks in. You see, every certificate is tied to a pair of digital keys. There's a public key, which is shared with everyone. It's used to lock or encrypt information. But then there's the private key. This is kept totally secret by the owner, and it's the only thing that can unlock the information that the public key locked. It's this perfect, unbreakable link between a public lock and a private key that makes the whole system work.
So let's walk through how this all comes together. First, the CA checks you out, verifies your identity, and issues your digital passport. Awesome. Now you can use your secret private key to create a unique digital signature on, say, a document. This signature does two amazing things. It proves the document came from you, and it creates this cryptographic seal. If anyone tries to change even a single comma in that document after you've signed it, that seal breaks and the signature is immediately invalid.
Okay, so we've got the how down. Now let's talk about the where. Because, we started this whole conversation with that little browser padlock, but PKI is truly the invisible infrastructure that's securing countless other parts of our digital lives.
I mean, it is everywhere. This isn't just about websites. The very same PKI framework is what lets you connect to a secure Wi-Fi network without a password. It's what verifies that the software you're about to install is legit. And it even powers those verified company logos you're starting to see in your inbox. It's the invisible security layer for almost everything.
In this quote, it really gets to the heart of another absolutely critical use case. For any company making software, or for any of us who download it, making sure that code is the real deal and hasn't been tampered with is, well, it's everything. And this is the difference it makes in the real world. You've seen this. When you try to install some random, unsigned piece of software, your computer freaks out and throws up that scary unknown publisher warning. But if that software has been digitally signed with a code signing certificate, you get that nice, reassuring, verified publisher message instead. That feeling of trust? That's built on PKI.
The exact same idea applies to documents. When you open a PDF and you see this green check mark and the signed and all signatures are valid banner, that's PKI at work. It's cryptographic proof that the person who signed it is who they claim to be, and more importantly, that this contract or this report has not been touched since they signed it.
But, like any huge global system, this framework of trust, it's not perfect. It's incredibly powerful for sure, but it also comes with some very real challenges, especially when it comes to just managing the whole thing.
So what does this number, 67%, really mean?
It means that 2/3 of organizations have had a service go down in the last 2 years simply because a digital certificate expired. A website, a critical internal app, a customer-facing service, brought to a grinding halt. All because of a missed expiration date on a calendar. It's a huge reminder of how important it is to manage these things properly.
Okay, but what if a private key gets stolen before its certificate is supposed to expire? I mean, you can't just wait around. The certificate authority has to publicly cancel or tear up that digital passport. And that whole process is called revocation.
For a really long time, your browser had two main ways to check if a certificate had been revoked. The first, OCSP, was kind of like making a quick phone call to the passport office for every single website to ask, hey, is this one still good? The other way was to download a CRL, which was basically a giant updated list of all the stolen passport numbers. And honestly, both methods had their problems.
And now there's a huge shift happening away from OCSP, that real-time check, because it has some major issues. For one, it can actually leak your browsing history to the certificate authority, which is a big privacy no-no. Plus, the requests themselves can often be blocked or even manipulated. It's gotten so problematic that major CAs like Let's Encrypt are just dropping support for it entirely.
All of these challenges mean that the world of digital trust can't just sit still. This whole critical infrastructure is in a constant race to evolve and stay one step ahead of the next big wave of threats.
One of the biggest changes we're seeing is that certificate lifespans are getting shorter and shorter. I mean, just a few years ago, a certificate was good for over a year. Now, the industry is pushing hard towards 90-day validity, with proposals to go even shorter. Why? Well, a shorter lifespan reduces the window of opportunity for an attacker if a key gets stolen, but it also means that organizations absolutely have to get good at automating their certificate management.
And then there's the giant elephant in the room, quantum computing. The big fear is that a powerful enough quantum computer could one day completely break the encryption that underpins all of PKI today. And this is exactly why, as this quote points out, the race to develop new, quantum-resistant algorithms is heating up so fast.
So really, the future is a two-front battle. On one side, you have this massive challenge of trying to transition the entire internet to something called post-quantum cryptography, or PQC. And on the other side, we're seeing the rise of AI-driven cyber attacks that are more sophisticated than anything we've ever faced, which means PKI has to be a key line of defense.
And that leaves us with the big final question. PKI is the foundation of our digital lives, but that foundation is being tested like never before. How we choose to evolve this invisible framework, well, it's not just a technical problem. It's going to define what trust really means in the future. Thanks for watching.